Guess what time it is? That's right, it's time for you to go here so I can talk to you while I drive. It's actually time for me to start Dancing with Dragons, book 5 of Game of Thrones. I'm so excited to finish this one because I feel like normally I get a real sense of accomplishment every single time I finish a book, and I haven't been getting that with these books because as soon as I finish one, I just jump right into another. So when I finish this one, it's gonna feel like I just finished a mega book, and that's gonna be absolutely awesome. It's really dark and rainy out this morning, which is why you're having a hard time seeing me. Today, I'm going to be starting the last one. I have 5 days to read Dancing with Dragons, and that is simply because it has to be returned back to the library. Really quickly though, on that, I did the math, and for me to be able to read Dancing with Dragons in 5 days, the book is 49 hours long. It's the longest one yet. I thought the third one was long. Oh boy. So that means that every single day I need to read 10 hours, which is 5 hours on ×2 speed, which is totally within my limits. But if I slip up one day, that's going to be a lot harder on the other days. So I need to stay on top of it. Okay, so I need to complain really quickly. George tricked me, and this book has like 2 characters I care about, and the rest are just... He also tricked me because Theon is in this book. He just has a different name. He almost made me pity him. I'm 8 hours in, so to finish my goal for today, I have 2 more hours, which on ×2 speed is 1 hour. I always do the math for you guys in case you can't divide by 2 on your own. I managed to get my 10 hours done today. I think I ended up with 10 hours and a half of an hour, so not bad. I was trying to get to 11 and I would have, but my last hour of work I kind of just mentally checked out. So I was pretty exhausted all of today, so I ended up not vlogging at all, but to really quickly say something, I listened to my 10 hours and then I was done. I had a huge headache the second half of the day too, so I kept saying like, oh, only 5 more minutes and then I'll just call it quits early, and I ended up doing the whole 10 hours. Nothing is happening in Game of Thrones. Nothing that I could talk about without spoiling things. Davos is like 2% interesting, which is up from 0%, so Daenerys is losing some of my interest, which is really sad because she was like really cool, but now she's just doing all this political stuff and I'm like, Jon is Jon. Tyrion lost my interest a few chapters ago. Honestly, I'm reading this book right now because I want to finish it in 5 days. Hello, I'm on break. I have just over 2 hours left to reach my goal for today. So on ×2 speed, it's gonna be a little bit more than an hour. It'll probably be like an hour and a half, hour 45. George is trying so hard to get me to pity Theon right now, and it's almost working. It would flat out work if I wasn't so stubborn. I can't stand that little twat. I don't get why so many people hate on Joffrey when they could be hating on Ramsay. George is doing that whole entire thing where it's like there's a us group and an other group, and earlier in the book Theon was the other group and we hated him, but now his other group is Ramsay, and I don't want to be in Ramsay's group because he's a piece of shit. So my only options are to make a third group, which psychologically human brains can't seem to do, or join Theon. I'm awkwardly standing in the middle going, I hate everyone right now. God, Theon is awful, but Ramsay's definitely worse. I was really nervous about what George was about to do with his plotline, and then he didn't do what I thought he was going to do, so I'm really happy. I didn't finish my goal for today at work. I have 30 minutes left I believe tonight I'm gonna have a few hours to listen to the audiobook, which will be really good because it is due either Sunday night or Monday morning, and normally on the weekends I don't listen to much. I have 19 hours left in the book. I can do this. I believe in myself. I'm just gonna have to push myself a little bit. Okay, so I just hit my goal for today on my drive home. I have to stop somewhere, errands real quick. Anyways, I'm really excited because I looked ahead because I'm planning on doing some reading tonight, and I can see that Jamie and Cersei both have chapters coming up. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm so sick and tired of these characters in this book. Even though probably the same amount of stuff has happened in book 4 and book 5, I enjoyed book 4 because it was characters I liked. But now book 5 is just a bunch of characters I'm just not invested in any of them, and even if I used to like them, I'm bored with them now. So I'm really excited to be seeing some of the good ones again. Good morning. It's Saturday. I ended up reading, I think it was a little bit over an hour last night. I got to Jamie's chapter. It wasn't anything exciting, but hey, it was someone I care about. I have been listening for a few hours this morning. I have 12 and a half hours left, so that's not too bad. I also just did some research on when George is going to publish the next book, and I came to the realization that every Game of Thrones fan has hit before me, which is probably never. I hope that I at least get a little bit of closure because I'm not sure if I'm gonna watch the TV show. I'm leaning towards no, but if I heard a good argument, I could change my mind. Okay, so I got to the part in the book where I was caught up for what I need to listen to today, and then I decided to keep listening because whatever I do today, I didn't need to do tomorrow. I'm thinking I might be able to just finish the book today. That'd make me happy. I have 5 hours left, so that's 2.5 hours on ×2 speed. I just finished Cersei's second chapter, and it's when she does her walk of shame. I really like how all of the books seem to have these quotes that go with them. Each character seems to say a certain line throughout the book. Each character has to say it, and this book was Words Are Wind, and it's really cool to see how those quotes can change meaning depending on which character is saying them. Okay, so we went out to dinner and we just got back, and I have approximately 50 minutes left in the audiobook, so I'm gonna sit down and finish this out. Hi, welcome back. I just finished. I don't think George is ever going to write another book. I'm sorry, I don't think we're ever gonna see the 6th one, which has a name. I think it's like Wind of something. I don't think we're ever seeing it. I think that's the end. Really cool. I got to record the last 20 minutes of me reading the book, so I'll speed it up and show it. I think this book was good. I don't think it was as good as some of the other ones. I'd say like pretty average. I would rate it for a fantasy book. Not super great, not super bad. Honestly, it felt like a lot of build-up. Not a lot happened. Early morning Amanda here. I just wanted to butt in and say that it's been a few days and I had some rest, and I think I wasn't able to say anything the other night because I was just tired. I mean, I read 5 Game of Thrones books in 24 days. It's amazing. Them on audio, that's still so much of my time and energy and focus. I'd like to make a few comments on the books, non-spoilery if I can, before I end this video. So first things first, book 5 was a little bit of a disappointment to me because book 4 and book 5 are basically the same timeline but different characters. And so in book 4 you get a lot of Lannisters, and in book 5 you get a lot of, well, everyone else. And unfortunately for me, everyone else isn't as interesting. And so I just wasn't as into book 5. Even though you do see Tyrion's POV, he wasn't holding up to his past self. I used to really like his character, but here he's just dealing with some stuff and figuring things out.
and he's kind of just on a boat the entire time. Also, in book 4, we get a lot of POV from Sansa, which normally I would argue that she isn't my top faves, but the way her POV had been written in book 4 had been so good, and I really, really enjoyed it. Book 5, we do get Arya, which in the past I've said I don't enjoy her POV either, but here it was definitely a lot more interesting. She's doing some new and exciting things. If book 6 ever gets written, I'll be really excited to catch up on both of them and see where their futures go. Of course, I did mention that book 5 had a few chapters from the Lannister twins, and I really enjoyed those chapters. They were exactly what I was expecting from the rest of the book. Emotional, impactful, strong. Like, they make you angry, they make you sad, they make you feel something other than just, okay, we're marching from here to here, okay, and we're gonna stop and then we're gonna march from here to here. I feel that a lot when I read Stark POVs, and I don't know why that is. I know a lot of people like the Starks, and I know a lot of people love Jon, and I don't dislike Jon. I think he's a really good character, but I feel like compared to all of the other characters in these books, he's just not living up to being like the main homeboy. I don't even know if I would refer to him as the main character. Honestly, I was struggling the other day thinking about this. Like, there isn't a main character. There's a lot of books with multiple POVs that I would argue have a main character, but that is because the main character is the person who the focus is around, and all the other characters are there because of that one character. And where I'm at right now, I couldn't argue that one of the characters has more influence than the others. And so I think I have to default to Jon just because that's kind of what I know other people to do. And that's not a really good reason to have someone be your main character. I really, really enjoyed the writing style. I enjoy multiple POVs. I wish I hadn't gotten so many other POVs. Like, he has these main characters that he introduces in the first few books to be the POVs that we're going to be reading from. And then in the later books, he introduces single chapter POVs, and I didn't enjoy those. And there were many times where I, 1, had no clue who was talking, and 2, had no cares to figure out who was talking, and 3, didn't care how their talking affected the rest of the story. I think that's as much as I'm gonna be able to say without spoiling book 5 or any of the other books. I think book 5 was good, just not as good as some of the other ones. This is the last in my Game of Thrones series, at least for now. I'm planning on reading Fire and Blood, which is the prequel that George released for some reason earlier this year. Instead of writing the 6th book in the series, he went back and wrote about the Targaryens. I hope you have a good day. Thanks for watching. I hope you check out my other videos. If this is your first one, I'm doing a whole entire series on Game of Thrones, and this is the last one, so you should check up on the other ones. Unless this is over 6 months from now, in which case there might be one more. Anyways, have a nice night. I'm gonna send you back to the other video. Enjoy this time lapse of me finishing A Dance with Dragons. And if you're wondering, at one point I freak out really bad, it's because one of my favorite characters dies. Haha.